If you think about the Australian immigrant population, Italian, Greek, and most of the cafes, Lebanese, Greek, Italian, Vietnamese, Chinese, there was a real emphasis on coffee and good coffee early on. So I'm Australian, arrived here about 20 years ago. In Australia at that time, the independent cafe culture was really strong. It was just like this movement was happening. And I arrived in London and it was just dying. Like there was just nothing. Like I remember friends from Sydney coming over and saying, well, let's have brunch. And I'm like, there's nowhere really to have brunch. Like there were 5-star hotels and there were greasy caps, but there wasn't a brunch culture. So then the cafe culture, the coffee shops, started coming into Starbucks, Costa Coffee, Cafe Nero. And as a creative person, it bothered me that this kind of nation of shopkeepers, the high street, which actually should be this very vibrant, eclectic reflection of the community, was becoming this homogenous cookie cutter. Every high street was exactly the same: shops, cafes, restaurants. And then we just started the process, I guess, like a creative brief. What would you do to create a place and an environment and an offering that was a real reflection of a community and the creative community? So we sort of developed our proposition using social media, which was my day job, to think about how to set up my side hustle. So we would take photos of the site. I started a group on Facebook called I Miss Australian Coffee, getting people to talk about what is it about the Australian cafe culture that you miss. I found all the food bloggers that were blogging in London, invited them to come in, told them what we were trying to do. So a very sort of grassroots approach. What we liked about here is that the community is film companies, advertising agencies, design companies. So I felt like I knew what people wanted in this kind of community. We're an urban offering for urban workers who want good food, who want good coffee. We talked about having traditional with a twist, so we never wanted to do tinned baked beans, but we did our own slow cooked baked beans. British friends, when we first opened, were like, why don't you just open the tin? What's wrong with tin baked beans? On all of the cafes we've got this mural, and it was a designer that we found in Melbourne, and we wanted to do what felt like an Australian landscape. It's like that little flower there is the Lantana flower. When we were designing our cups and stuff, I wanted to have the beetles and everything on it, and one of them looks a bit like a cockroach. I remember thinking a client would say remove the beetle in case anyone thinks it's a cockroach. As a creative director, you're always pushing for something to be as disruptive and edgy, and then when you're both the client and the business owner and the creative director, it's like, oh, where do I draw the line on what will be good for business and creatively what I just want to do? I think we like the fact that it still feels very us.